Hello, in this video I am going to share exactly how I went from this image, which is the original, to this image, step by step. I'm also going to start sharing a lot more of what is not right with my photography, because I feel like I don't do that enough, and I kind of try and keep things positive, but I really want to share with you every thought that I have about every image. So these were particularly tricky. The sunlight was very strong, so there was dark shadows. So there's so many ways I feel like I didn't do my sort of initial vision, if you like, justice. The sunlight getting out at the wrong time of day was one of them, so I was kind of kicking myself for that a little bit, quite a lot actually. Also, hair and makeup so important when you're trying to create a great portrait. I didn't have my hair, my hair. I was just very self-conscious about my hair. The other thing was Adam was taking this shot, and bless him, I felt like I was putting on him a little bit, and I didn't want to kind of string this out too long because Adam was trying to enjoy a relaxing holiday. So I think I felt like I was rushing because of that, and of course I had to try and pay attention to how I was standing as well as the settings on the camera. It's not really the same when you can't look through the viewfinder and see the actual situation and then adjust things. If you're running backwards and forwards, it's quite tricky. So I'm just going to talk you through how I kind of rescued this shot, and it all started in Photoshop by blurring that background. The background of the trees was just far too distracting. So I cut out the background. I actually selected the subject and then added in the wall, and then just selected inverse, which gave me the background. And then I duplicated the layer and gave that part of the image a lens blur filter, as you can see here. And then if you duplicate the layer, you can ramp up the lens blur quite dramatically, but then you can adjust the opacity of the layer underneath so that you can get it just right afterwards. It means that you don't have to get it perfect in the filter area of the editing process. So after this, I noticed that the plant pot kind of didn't really look right out of focus, because it's, it needed to be slightly out of focus, but not that out of focus because it's not that far back, right? So then because I'd duplicated the layer, this is what's helpful about doing that, is that you can start to undo bits that you've done. So then I was able to cut out the plant pot, hit delete, and it would appear sharp again. But actually then I actually thought it does need to be a little bit sharp. It does need to be a little bit soft and a little bit sharp, but somewhere in between. Because obviously the distance of that plant pot away, it is further away than the closest patch of grass, if you see what I mean. So I was just trying to get that right for quite a while. And once I'd softened the plant pot slightly, I actually decided, you know what, the plant pot is a bit of a distraction anyway. It would be better to just get rid of it altogether. So I then just went about cloning the grass and the path and just getting rid of that altogether. Please bear in mind, I'm completely self-taught on Photoshop. So I'm aware that there are quicker ways of doing a lot of what I do, but it's just how I've come to these results, is just through my own experimentation. So I probably do go the long way around things sometimes. Just bear with me with that. So after tidying up the plant pot, I decided, actually, do you know what, I am going to get rid of that piece of greenery on the wall there because it is a bit of a distraction. I don't mind it. It sort of brings the eye over, but at the same time I felt like with the plant pot gone, I was quite enjoying creating this cleaner image. So I thought, yeah, let's get rid of that. Just being careful when you're cloning not to create repeating shapes, because then it makes it obvious that you've cloned. That's why you'll notice when I do my cloning, I adjust the size of the clone stamp quite a lot. That's just because it gives it that randomness. So after I'd cleaned up the image and given it a crop, I then opened it up into Lumina Neo. And this is where the fun really started. This is where it kind of leapfrogged into being something quite lovely and creative. And you'll notice that I'd found these presets, and there's some presets called experimental. Oh my goodness, I had so much fun in this little corner of Lumina Neo. And it it became a bit of a game. It just felt like sensory lighting as I kind of scrolled over each version of the different filters. So I had a lot of fun just picking one. And with the black and whites as well, it's nice that some of them seemed to reduce the background to take the emphasis off of that background even more, and some of them seemed to emphasize it. So it was good fun to play around with those. I wanted something that was going to reduce the impact of those shadows on the face, but you know, unless you get out at the right time of day in the right light with a great exposure and something to just soften those shadows, like even a big diffuser. If you had somebody standing there with a diffuser for the sunlight to go through, you know, something like that. If you do this at the time of the shoot, then you don't have all of this trying to rescue the shot afterwards. But I think what I did with the filter, it just took the emphasis. Do you see how by scrolling over these beautiful works of art, you kind of get this effect that takes the emphasis off the harshness of the shadows. Do you see that? It just brings this whole another dimension to the image, and you're suddenly not drawn to those shadows and the highlights. So there was a black and white filter as well called Lighthouse, something about Lighthouse, which I chose as an additional one. So I love Lumina Neo. I love Lumina Neo for these presets. It's like nothing I've ever seen before, and I'm so glad that I felt inspired to throw some of these photos into Lumina Neo, because it really rescued them, to be honest. I was really quite unhappy with the results of these, and that's definitely, you can see the tension in my face, look, that's definitely what I'm going to share more of going forward. Every little bit that I see that is an imperfection. And I almost forgot to say, if you'd like to purchase Lumina Neo, I would be so grateful if you'd use my my link, which I will leave in the description, the comments of this video, and if you use my discount code, you will receive 10% off. Yay! So just to recap on the stages of this image, this was the original shot, and then we started with blurring the background with a lens blur filter in Photoshop. I also cropped the image, as you can see, and then stage 3 was removing the plant pot altogether. It just felt it was a little bit of a distraction there, and then we removed the piece of plant at the top of my head, then straight into Lumina Neo for some beautiful filters. And personally, I think I like the colour version best. I just love the dynamic of all the different colours and the vignette, just bringing it in there, bringing the eye in. But what do you think? Do you like the black and white better? In the perfect world, I would absolutely shoot this again. I love the concept. I love the cardigan, and it just needs to be completely shot again with hair and makeup done. Plenty of time to just feel into this and get the positions right and the posing right, and just feeling more confident, and just to make the most of the opportunity of this vision that I had. So yeah, one day perhaps I will explore this whole shoot again and do a retake. But until then, thank you, Lumina Neo. You rescued this shot.